This is what USA sold. So now we have both labels here, but we want to put both labels on top just to make this a lot finer, okay? A lot more beautiful. So for that, what we're going to do is to just get like a placeholder where we can put 0. So we're just going to come to measure and create a new measure. Now I'm just going to get a placeholder. You can name that placeholder, you can name that empty, you can name it anything really. And we're just going to put 0 in there. So now that we have the placeholder right here, the next thing we want to do is to come to add data to your visual and let us put it in here. So it gives us this small space right here, okay? So as you can see now, we can add something here if we play around with this a lot better. So the first thing I will do now is to come here. I'm going to go turn off my values for the y-axis. I'm also going to go turn off the title, right? Okay. Then next, I will turn off this legend because I really do not need it. Also, I'm going to go to the x-axis and I'm going to turn off the value and the title. So this is what we're working with now. We're not supposed to have label holders here. The label holders are supposed to be up, not down, okay? So for that, we're just going to make a simple correction. And this is where our placeholder is. So we're just going to push it upwards. All right, can you see now the placeholder is up while the total sales is below? That is how it should be. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure we want to write a DAX measure where we are going to put our country. Okay, so for that, so come to your measure, create a new measure. And now we're just going to name this country name. We're just going to put it as country name. And now equals to, we're going to use the selected value function so look at the selected value. So now what do we want to select? We want to select the country because remember it is the country label we want to put here, right? So when we select the country, we're just going to close it, okay? So when we close it, we're going to hit enter. So you can see the country name. So what we need to do is to come to format your visual, go to your data label, apply settings to which series do you want to apply it to? You want to apply it to what? The placeholder series. Do not forget, once we put the placeholder series, we're going to come to value and then come to data options and go to what? Put country name there. Can you see? You can see that in that data options, we have placeholder, but you just come here and change it to our country names. And you can see our country names sitting pretty right here, right? This looks good already. We really do not need to do a lot of formatting, okay? But now the next thing is that we don't want these data labels right here. We want the data labels to be beside it, okay? So for starters, let me just make this 25. So it's like bigger, okay? So now this is the first step. First step done. So the next thing is we want to remove this label and put the label beside it. For us to do this thing now, we're going to come here. All right, so we're going to be creating some variables. So let's just put shift and enter so it comes down. And we are going to put this as a variable. So that's var. And what are we going to name our var? Let's just name it the country, var country. So the next variable we want to create, which is var again, and we want to name this what? Sales, because we want to be able to get the value of these data labels, okay? So we're just going to name this sales and put equals to our total sales, which we have created here. All right. So the next thing we want to do is to press shift and enter and then create, the third variable, which is the third variable is just like basically the label itself. So I'm just going to put label here. And I'm going to say equals to the country. Let me start with this. Okay, this is our country here. So we want to get the country and we also want to put this. So this is how we want it. We want the country, then we want to put this. Okay. So when we get USA, we'll have this little dash mark here, and then we're going to get like $25 million. Do you get something like that? And we're going to put and lastly, we're going to get the sales, which is our total sales. And that's about it. So lastly, we'll just return. So lastly, we'll just return what? The label, which is. So I hope this is quite explanatory. We've got the country, we've got the sales, which is what we wrote in our DAX measure, and what we want, how we want to see it is the country dash the sales amount, and we're returning this label. So let's hit enter. And you guys, as you can see, this is what we have. But there's a bit of problem. Although this is what it is here, it's not being approximated in the millions. So we have to do that. We have to find a way to format this number so it can be properly approximated. Okay, so thank God we still have our DAX measure here. So the next thing I'm just going to do is to come to sales right here and use the format function. So we're just going to format this. So this is the value, obviously, the total sales is the value, but I need to divide this total sales by 1,000,000 in order for it to come out in this million figure. So I'm just going to do total sales divided by 1,000,000. So the zeros should be 6. Okay, now that is the value. Total sales divided by 1,000,000 is the value. So I'm going to use the comma. What are we formatting it? I want to format it to millions. And a simple way you can use millions, or you can write millions here, is to use this. Don't forget to put your $sign, because that is the currency. So the $sign comes first, and this is 0.00. And we're just going to use 2 commas, indicating that, after the first 3 zeros, there is a comma, then the next 3 zeros, there is a comma. Okay, and then we're just going to write M signifying million and close our quote. Then we're going to close these brackets, and then we're done with this. So let's hit enter. Okay, so now we can see what we have, right? You can see this is the same thing. Okay, so this basically means this basically means 2 decimal places, right? And this is this is the 2 commas signifying million. If we have billion, we're going to have 3 commas, okay? But now, what if I don't want it in 2 decimal places? I'm just going to come here and remove 1, and I'm going to hit enter. And voila, we can see this, right? So this is exactly what we have right here. Okay, so that is it for this particular one. The next thing we're going to do now is to come right here to data labels and turn off this data label. But once we turn off the data label, you can see everything goes. So you can see everything goes, but we need to turn off the data label that used to be here and leave our USA here. So for that, turn this back on. Then you're going to come to the series, to total sales, and what show for this series, turn it off. So if you enjoyed this, please do not forget to subscribe and like, and share this to your friends that would love to learn a very easy and simple Power BI end-to-end tutorial. And I'll see you in the next video.